He was the Iron Man behind the scenes, the one who held a broken nation together as it bled. While Lincoln gave the speeches, Stanton moved the armies, buried the dead, and chased justice into the shadows. When the bullets struck the president, it was Stanton who stood over his body and whispered, "Now he belongs to the ages." But who was the man who spoke those immortal words? And why did he lock himself in his office to defy a President Edwin Stanton, 1814 to 1869? A pivotal figure in U.S. history who played a central role in the Civil War and Reconstruction era. Early life and education: born December 19, 1814 in Steubenville, Ohio. Stanton lost his father in 1827, forcing him to work in a bookstore to support his family. He educated himself through reading before attending Kenyon College. 1831 to 1832. After law studies, he was admitted to the Ohio bar in 1836 and began a career as a successful attorney in Pittsburgh and Washington. D.I. Crees, in public office, appointed U.S. Attorney General by President James Buchanan in December 1860, where he opposed the evacuation of Fort Sumter and advised Republican cabinet leaders covertly despite early opposition to Lincoln. He became legal advisor to Secretary of War Simon Cameron and succeeded him in Speech 62 when Cameron resigned. Amid scandal, here's a comprehensive, in-depth profile of Edwin M. Stanton's tenure as Secretary of War. January 1862, April 1865, highlighting his transformative leadership, wartime administration, and legacy shaping the Union victory. Appointment and early actions: appointed Secretary of War by Lincoln on January 15 to 20, 1862. To replace the scandal-ridden Simon Cameron, immediately tackled rampant corruption by canceling tainted contracts, restructuring the department, and demanding exceptional logistics from contract management to supply delivery organization and bureau oversight, centralized control. All bureau chiefs reported to Stanton, though he later delegated procurement to 3 assistants created key wartime bureaus: Judge Advocate General 1862, Signal Department 1863, and Provost Marshal General to manage the first Federal Draft Enrollment Act, logistics and strategic coordination, harnessed railroads and telegraph systems, often nationalizing them to ensure rapid troop movements and secure communication channels. Notably, shipped 23,000 troops over 1,500 miles within 10 days to reinforce Chattanooga in September 1863. Logistical triumphs: ported Grant's rise by providing critical supplies and advocating for his promotion in 1864. Internal security and civil authority took over civil security from Seward in March 1860 to issuing thousands of military arrests, jailing civilians, suspending habeas corpus, and shutting down disloyal newspapers. Built the Provost Marshal's Bureau in 1863 to enforce conscription. Over 4,200 civilians faced military tribunals. Mancipation and recruitment of black soldiers. Championed and implemented policies to arm African Americans in Union forces. Even before Lincoln issued formal orders, Stanton advised military enlistment of 5,000 black troops in South Carolina in mid-1806 to supported full equality, fair pay, and harsh penalties for Confederate violations against black soldiers, citing Port Hudson and Milliken's Bend as proof of their valor. Political influence and civil-military tensions: engaged closely with Congress on military policy and appropriations, helped pass laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1866 over Johnson's veto. Clashed with generals McClellan, criticized for indecision, and Sherman later openly denounced Sherman's surrender terms, forcing cabinet meetings and upper-level revisions. Personal traits and leadership style: known for brusque, relentless drive, worked long hours, demanded precision, and was infamous for being feared rather than loved. Lincoln described him as the rock on the beach, against which the breakers dash. Acknowledging Stanton's vital stabilizing role, impact, and legacy in historians' assessments and public opinion, Stanton is often ranked as the third most important Union figure, after Lincoln and Grant, thanks to his mastery over mobilization, supply, communications, and politics' systemic reforms ensured no Union force ever lost due to lack of arms, provisions, or coordination. Summary table of responsibilities and achievements. Survey Roll and Achievements Department. Reform canceled corruption-laden contracts. Overhauled War Department, Structure Supply and Logistics. Central Control of Rail, Telegraph, Quartermaster, Seamless Troop Movements, Civil Security. Managed arrests, Draft Enforcement, Censorship, and Tribunals. Emancipation and Black Troops advocated and implemented. Early recruitment, supported equal pay. Political coordination, partnered with Congress. Influenced legislation and election logistics. Military relations, pressured leadership changes. Enforced strategic discipline. Leadership, style-driven, relentless, harsh but indispensable to Union victory. Lincoln assassination and aftermath. Following Lincoln's death in April 1865, Stanton managed funeral arrangements and led efforts to capture John Wilkes Booth and prosecute conspirators in military tribunals. His decisive actions influenced post-war justice and policy. He famously said, "Now he belongs to the ages," memorializing Lincoln's legacy with profound resonance. Reconstruction and clash with Andrew Johnson. Stanton remained War Secretary under President Andrew Johnson, but strongly opposed Johnson's lenient Reconstruction policies and aligned with radical Republicans in Congress. In February 1868, Johnson attempted to replace him, prompting Stanton to barricade himself in his office, sleeping on a couch for over 2 months to maintain legal standing under the Tenure of Office Act. His resistance became a central part of the impeachment proceedings against Johnson. After the Senate failed to convict the president by 1 vote in May 1868, Stanton eventually resigned on May 26. Final years and legacy. Stanton briefly returned to private law practice. In December 1869, he was nominated by President Grant to the U.S. Supreme Court, confirmed by the Senate, but died of an asthma attack on December 24, 1869. Before taking his seat, he remains the only confirmed Supreme Court nominee to die. Before assuming office, summary table. Phase key roles and impact. Early career and law. Self-taught lawyer. Ohio Bar, 1836. National reputation. Attorney General, 1860. Crucial role before Lincoln's presidency. Strong constitutional views. Secretary of War, 186265. War Department reform. Logistics, managing communications after Lincoln's death. Led legal actions and managed national trauma reconstruction. 1865–68. Resisted Johnson. Upheld radical congressional aims. Supreme Court nominee confirmed, but passed away before assuming office. Death of Edwin M. Stanton. Date of death: December 24, 1869. Age 55. Place of death: Washington, D.C., United States. Cause of death: complications from respiratory illness, specifically asthma, worsened by heart disease and chronic exhaustion. Opening parenthesis, Britannica.com. NPS.gov. Stanton had suffered for years from severe asthma attacks and likely undiagnosed cardiopulmonary disease. His physical health had deteriorated significantly by late 1869. Final days: in December 1869. President Ulysses S. Grant nominated Stanton to serve as an Associate Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, a gesture honoring Stanton's service during the Civil War. The Senate confirmed him on December 20, 1869, by a narrow vote. However, Stanton was too ill to attend the confirmation or take the oath of office. 4 days later, he died at his home in Washington, D.C., never officially serving on the Supreme Court. He remains the only person in U.S. history confirmed to the court but to die before assuming office. Legacy, impact. After death, Stanton's reputation fluctuated. After death, mired by abolitionists and Union loyalists, but criticized by Confederate sympathizers and President Andrew Johnson supporters. In later decades, Historians began to recognize his administrative brilliance. Despite his sometimes ruthless and abrasive manner, his phrase upon Lincoln's death, "Now he belongs to the ages," became a defining quote of American history. Your ultimate destination. For powerful stories, historic battles, and fearless military leaders who shaped the world, whether you're passionate about history, strategy, or modern warfare, Military Legends HQ is where bravery meets knowledge. Subscribe and join our growing army of military history fans.